Call to order. Welcome to Aurora's Committee of Adjustment meeting. The time is 7:02 p.m. on Thursday, August 10, 2023. I would like to call this meeting of adjustment meeting to order. I will start by introducing the committee members and staff. I am the committee chair. My name is David Mhango, and the remaining members are as follows: Chris Posneri, Michael Visconti, and Julian Young. The other member, Jane Stevenson, is not with us tonight. The secretary treasurer is Peter Pan. The planner is Adam Robb. Land acknowledgement. The town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas, recognized through Treaty Number 13, as well as the Williams Treaties of 1923. A shared understanding of the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today, will help us work together into a better future. Tonight's meeting will now commence. We'll start with the approval of agenda. Now I'll require a mover and seconder to approve the agenda. Michael, and seconder. Julian is seconding. All in favor of the motion? Motion carried. Next, declarations of interest. To the members, are there any declarations of pecuniarity interest and the general nature thereof?
No.
I see heads shaking, so none. Confirmation of past minutes. Sorry. Okay. Confirmation of past minutes. I require a mover and a seconder.
Move approval.
Michael Visconti is a mover and seconder is Julian. All in favor of the motion? Motion carried. Hearing of applications. This public meeting is being audio and video recorded. It is also being conducted virtually and through the use of Zoom technology. Your name, address, comments, and any other personal information are being recorded according to the Municipal Act and the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. This will help our town clerk prepare accurate minutes and to create a record that is available to the general public, including on the town's website. Questions about this correction should be directed to the town clerk. Please be advised that the reports being considered tonight are available on the Town of Aurora website and through staff at the town's planning department. Should you wish to receive notification of any of the decisions of tonight's meeting, please complete the appropriate form available through town staff. Applicants and agents will automatically be notified. For each application that will be considered tonight, the following process will occur. I will briefly outline the purpose of the applications, and then the applicant or agent will then be given the opportunity to make a presentation. However, one is not required. It is the applicant's decision whether they wish to speak or let the application proceed on the merits of the information as received. Presentations and deputations are limited to 5 minutes as much as possible. Following any initial comments from the applicant, I will invite members of the public who have interest in the application to come forward and address the committee. Those members of the public who wish to speak must clearly state their name and address and must provide this information to the Secretary Treasurer. Should you wish to obtain a copy of the notice of decision, please complete the appropriate form available through the Secretary Treasurer. Members of the public are reminded that text comments are not permitted during the meeting and that they will not be noted in any manner or at any time. Each individual may speak only once on an issue, and once discussion has commenced in respect of the motion, no further presentations shall be made. If you require any technical assistance with your presentation, please let me know. If you wish to speak and are currently following this meeting on the YouTube feed, you will need to turn this feed off and join the live meeting, as there is a slight lag between the YouTube and the live feed. Please ensure that all questions and or comments are directed through me as a chair, and if relevant, I will request the appropriate person to respond. It should be noted that the applicant will be given the opportunity to respond to any questions or comments should the committee feel that is appropriate. Now we'll look at the presentations of applications. And the first one we have is minor variance application at 45 Sandsky Crescent, MV-2023-28. The applicant is requesting relief from the requirements of the town's comprehensive zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended to facilitate the construction of a one-story rear addition to the existing single detached dwelling on the subject property. The following relief is being requested. Section 24.497.3.2 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum rear yard of 7.5 meters or 25% of the lot depth, which is the 6 meters as per calculation, whichever is greater. The applicant is proposing a rear addition, which is 4.96 meters to the rear yard property line, thereby requiring a variance of 2.45 meters. The applicant stated reasons for not complying with the zoning bylaw. As stated and generally summarized from the applicant's form, the applicant is intending to provide storage and additional space for family needs. Public correspondence. There's one concern from public about this application. The town received a concern from a member of the public for this application. The concern involved the fact that the property was recently advertised in a real estate listing as offering an accessory apartment or second suite, and whether this proposed rear addition was to be potentially accommodated, that despite being described by the owner in the application form as for storage purposes only. Additional information from staff. Upon reviewing this information, this concern, the town conducted a detailed inspection of the property and discovered an illegal non-registered basement apartment on site. This basement apartment is separate from the rear addition that is being proposed, but is nonetheless operating illegally. Given this additional information, staff is recommending that this application be deferred from tonight's meeting. The town will continue to review the circumstances of the existing accessory apartment and also confirm intended uses moving forward, particularly as they relate to the subject rear addition as well. The owner and agent has explained to town staff that the rear addition is solely intended to be used for storage purposes. However, existing violations will need to be rectified prior to the application being fully supported. Deferral provides opportunity for further review, clarification, and appropriate conditions to be developed given the circumstances. Now, do we have an agent or applicant who wants to speak to this file?
Yes, hello, Mr. Chair, are you hearing my voice?
Yes, I can hear. And if you can identify your name and also address.
Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Chair and a member of the committee. This is Ehsan Jahani. I'm the licensed architect with the Ontario Association of the Architects and representing the owner today. My address is 15945 Bayview Avenue. It's in Aurora, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir. So go ahead.
So thank you very much to give a brief information about this. But before that, I want to give a bit of a history. Initially, this proposal was supposed to be in the second dwelling unit, but after when the owner approached to our office to do a study on this, we just came to a conclusion that this cannot be converted to a basically second dwelling unit. So what we have proposed to the owner was to actually go through the committee of adjustment and get that as a storage, because he didn't want it to destroy that, didn't want it to actually demolish what he has built. So we did our best to comply that with the building code and zoning bylaw. And we said that what we can do, you can actually propose it as a storage and use it as a storage. This was the reason that we are coming to the committee of adjustment. We've been also through a kind of preliminary zoning review of this, and we thought maybe if we come to the committee of adjustment, we'll be able to get the variance for that. In addition to that, I just also find that there is an illegal basement down there, which we spoke with the owner today, and the owner actually said that we can actually apply for the permit for that. So the other thing is that this property, as you mentioned, this property has already been listed for selling, and to my latest information, it has been sold to a new owner. So the new owner actually accepted to take over all of the procedure that the town is recommend after this meeting. Whatever it's required to be done, which we know that it's a committee of adjustment, building permit application for the storage and building permit application for the second dwelling unit as a legal basement. In addition to other condition that it has been mentioned on the hearing report, which was Conservation Authority and so on and so forth. So I, as a representative of the owner, I'm actually ready to take any action which is necessary to continue on this application.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Do we have any public delegates who would like to speak? Peter?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are no public delegations for this application.
Okay, thank you. Now to the members, any comments from the members of committee? Michael?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. I read the staff report, and I also read the new report that came out from staff on the basis that there is an illegal basement apartment. And I think I agree that this application should be deferred by the committee on the basis of town staff working out details and so forth, especially now that we heard from Mr. Jahani that there's a new owner. So I think it's premature to approve this, and I agree with the staff report to defer. So I move deferral.
We have not reached that stage yet of the motion yet.
Sorry.
No problem, it's okay. Any other comments from members of the committee?
I'll echo Michael's comments through you, Mr. Chair. No
Okay.
additional comments from me.
Okay, Christopher?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no further comments or questions.
Okay. So can I have a motion or motions from the one of the members of the committee? Michael,
Through you, Mr. Chair, I move that application MV 2023-2845 Sandusky Crescent be deferred.
any
Already.
seconder for that motion? Christopher is calling that motion. All in favor of this motion? Motion carried. So, Mr. Enhas Jahani. So the committee has made a decision that this application be deferred, considering the reasons provided by the town's staff. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Just for my clarification, the next step, it will be to apply for the building permit, as I understand, to cover the addition and also cover the legal basement down there. Am I understand this correctly?
That one we don't know. That is something you can discuss later on with the town staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So will be any kind of official letter from the outcome of the deferral so that I can pass it to the owner and
Yes,
people can-
yes. So with the town staff will prepare the decision and the whatever we've decided today and communicate with you. And if there are any other comments or questions, then you can discuss with staff.
Perfect. So
Maybe
since I need-
Adam, do you want to add anything, Adam or Peter?
No, through you, Mr. Chair, that was exactly what my answer was going to be as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. So I'll pass to you the new owner information in case if you want to actually issue the deferral letter to the new owner.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. The next application is a minor variance application at 63 MS Crescent, file number MV-2023-29. The applicant is requesting relief from the requirements of the town's comprehensive zoning bylaw 6000-17 as amended to facilitate the construction of a screened enclosed patio at the rear of the subject property. The following relief is being requested. Section 24.310.12 of the zoning bylaw requires a minimum rear yard setback of 6.0 meters. The applicant is proposing 1.5 meters. The applicant's stated reasons for not complying with the zoning bylaw. As stated on the application form, the proposed minor variance application is to allow for the construction of an exterior unheated enclosure with insect screen walls and an aluminum framed roof on an existing patio at the rear of the house. These screened walls will maintain a minimum airflow of 50% at all times. It is our opinion that the proposed enclosure area will remain an exterior space and therefore should be permitted within the setback. Public correspondence, we've received no opposition letter, no supporting letter. The conclusion, staff are of the opinion that the requested variance meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act for granting of minor variance. Staff recommend approval of the requested variance for the screen enclosed patio with one condition. Do we have an owner or agent who want to speak to this application? Peter, can you confirm that we don't have the agent or applicant or owner?
Through you, Mr. Chair, Kevin Hughes is the agent for this application. He is
Oh, okay,
joining
okay, it's there now. Okay, okay. So
Yep.
can you let us know your name, full name, as well as your address, please?
Yes, so I am the agent of the applicant. So my name is Kevin Hughes, and we're the contractor or agent for Mario Plastino at 63 Ames. And I'm just here to answer any questions if there are any.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public wants to speak? Peter?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there are no public delegates for this application.
Okay. Now to the members of the committee, any questions, any comments? Julian?
I just have some comments. If anyone else has a question, they can go first through you, Mr. Chair.
I think you have the floor. You started,
Okay.
so you.
So through you, Mr. Chair, I think for this application, I agree with the town's analysis that even though the requested setback is quite far, 1.5 meters versus 6 meters, but the nature of the building is an accessory unit. And I think one of the major facts that has convinced me is that if this building was a separate building, not attached to the building, it would be subject to a different bylaw, which states the setback would be at least 1 meter from the rear property line. So the current plan being 1.5 meters would satisfy that bylaw as well. So in my opinion, I have no issues with this application.
Okay, thank you, Julian. Any comments or questions from the other members of the committee? I can see Michael is shaking his head, meaning no comments. What about Christopher?
No comments or questions from me.
Okay, so are there any motions from the committee members? I don't have any questions myself too. So any, so Julian?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. So I'll move to approve application MV-2023-29, subject to the conditions listed in Appendix A.
Okay, any seconder for this motion? Christopher? All in favor of the motion? Motion carried. Thank you very much, Kevin Hughes. Your application has been approved by the committee members. Have a good night.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you. The next application is minor variance application at 122 Vines Place or Vines Place. The is MV -2023-30. The application. The applicant is requesting relief from the requirements of the town's comprehensive bylaw 600-17 as amended to facilitate the construction of the cabana. The following relief is being requested. Section 24.366.1.2 of the zoning bylaw requires the accessory building setback from Vandorf side road to be 15 meters. The applicant is proposing an accessory building cabana, which is 9.14 meters from Vandorf side road. The applicant stated reasons for not complying with the zoning bylaw, as stated on the application form, unable to reduce size of accessory building due to storage requirements. Public correspondence. There is no opposition letter, but there's one support letter. In conclusion, staff are of the opinion that the requested variance meets the four tests of the Planning Act for granting of minor variances. Staff recommend approval of the requested variance subject to three conditions of approval. Do we have an applicant or agent who wants to speak to this file, this application?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do have a Jessica Hamill. They will be joining the meeting shortly.
Okay.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes. So can you, just for the sake of making it official and public, can you tell us your name, full name, as well as your address?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair and the committee.
Good
I
evening.
am
Can
Jessica
you hear me?
Hamill with Tumber and Associates.
Yes. So I recommend if you have a TV or watching on the YouTube, can you switch that off?
There should be nothing other than my child in the background. My apologies.
Okay. Okay.
So yes, through you, Mr. Chair, Jessica Hamill with Tumber and Associates, the authorized agent for Mr. and Mrs. Salucci at 122 Vines Place in Aurora.
Okay, thank you. So would you like to speak about this file, maybe a presentation or just a comment or just whatever you have in mind to let the committee know?
Yeah, through you, I am just here to answer any questions, should there be any.
Okay, Peter, do we have any public delegation?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there's no public delegations for this application.
Okay, thank you. The committee members, do you have any questions or comments? Members? Okay, Julian?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So I note that there was one letter of support for the application. And in terms of questions, the staff report mentions that several neighboring properties also have similar cabanas or accessory style buildings nearby. I'm just wondering, this is more of a question to Adam. Are the sizes of those buildings similar to the one proposed in this application?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. My answer to that would be that they are all generally similar in size to what is being proposed at this parcel.
Thank you. That was my question.
Any questions from other members?
For you, Mr. Chair,
Christopher?
I did have some questions, but they were answered prior to the meeting, so I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you. Michael?
No further questions from me either.
Okay. I just have a few questions or even comments. First is there are three conditions there. Are you okay with those conditions in the staff's report?
Through you, Mr. Chair, correct. Yes, we are good with those.
Okay. So I visited the site and I know I saw the backhoe there and the loss of construction at the back. And can you are aware that there's a catch basin at the rear, at the corner there?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yeah, we are aware.
Okay, are you able to speak regarding the protection during construction, the protection of that catch basin? As you know, there's a lot of earth moving there and so on. And the likelihood of sediments going into catch basin and basically, into the town sewer system. Are you able to speak about the protective measures which you think you're going to implement to ensure, there's limited, sediments going to that catch basin?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I don't have those details, but can follow up with our project foreman to see what they have in place and what is further required.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I'm hoping that with the town staff, you work with town staff collaboratively, and then make sure that all the protective measures in terms of sediments not going to catch basin there, and all the required landscaping, you work with them cooperatively without giving problems. Otherwise, I would have wished to put a condition there, but I know staff will work with you collaboratively and cooperatively to make sure that everything there should go okay. So those are just my comments.
Okay.
With that, do we have any motions from members? Christopher?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve MV 2023-30, subject to the conditions in the staff report.
Okay, thank you. Any seconder? Michael?
Second that.
All in favor of the motion? Motion carried. So thank you, Jessica, Carmel, for coming here and making the presentation. Your application has been approved.
Wonderful.
Subject to the conditions in the staff's report. And wish you a good night.
Wonderful. Thank you as well.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye. Okay, so new business or unfinished business. Any new business?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I know at our last month's meeting, you requested some information on Bill 23, the More Homes Built Faster Act, and specifically some policies regarding ARUs, an acronym to describe additional residential units. And I can just perhaps provide a quick rundown and answer any questions through the committee, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so Bill 23 received royal assent in late 2022, and it amended the Planning Act. And through that, it established what's called as-of-right zoning permissions. And these as-of-right zoning permissions for additional residential units now allow 3 residential units per lot. These 3 units, there's a bit of flexibility to them, but they can take the form of 1 being the main primary dwelling, 2 being a basement apartment or basement accessory apartment, and then 3, generally a detached residential structure in the form of a typical garden suite or even a coach house. Under the Act and the recent legislative changes, there are no strict minimum unit sizes, but there are general requirements for each unit to be able to provide kitchen and sanitary facilities, as well as be on full municipal services in a location of town that is part of what's called the urban area. These are generally speaking established neighborhoods that have municipal servicing available. In terms of parking requirements, through our zoning bylaw, there is 2 for the main dwelling and then 1 spot for each additional unit on site. And the legislation also codifies this. But luckily, and thankfully, our zoning bylaw already has that standard in place. And then in terms of registration and enforcement for these units, every ARU is required to conform to our zoning bylaw with regards to setbacks, lot coverages, but they're also entitled to apply for minor variances as well. With the same 4-part test applying. These units, as we went through somewhat tonight, they also must be registered with the town through our building department and be inspected for code compliance as well as by our emergency services team. Additional residential units and this new legislation is ultimately seen as a means by the province to increase housing supply, which is something that we've heard in the news a lot lately. And the general term around this is called gentle intensification, which is a form of planning or intensifying neighborhoods that capitalizes on adding these units and what are known as traditionally lower density neighborhood areas. So that's a really quick high level overview of the bill and specifically the policies on ARUs, and I could certainly take any questions from the committee.
Thank you very much, Adam. We really appreciate this information. Any questions or comments from the committee members? Julian?
So I'm just curious whether or not there's a limit on how many would be approved? Or is it first come, first serve? Is there like an upper limit?
In terms of the growth plan itself, which directs growth across the entire GTA, and then locally speaking, there is no limit as well. We all have, generally speaking, there are growth targets for each municipality to reach, but this level of intensification, this gentle intensification, they're not pumping up the same number of units as, say, a subdivision would. And the short answer is that there's no cap. I will couch that, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair. They do have to be fully municipally serviced though, and there has to be available capacity.
Okay, thank you. Any other question or comments, Michael?
Through you, Mr. Chair, just a question regarding enforcement and inspection and the cost associated with it. Does the bill allow for cost recovery for the town to be able to enforce the building code requirements for these units and also for other inspections as necessary? And also, I guess my next question is for units that, you know, have not been, like for the one we just went through, illegal basement apartments that are throughout the town. And, you know, they have to be brought up to code. Is there any provision in the bill to allow the town to have some cost recovery?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I believe the fine or penalties would occur under the Ontario Building Code. And there are fines and penalties that are applicable. I don't know exact cost figures. I think it's always the best intent to try and do due diligence ahead of time and be proactive and obviously encourage residents to connect with the town. But recognizing that when inspections do occur, there are fines or penalties available, just like there would be for any other Ontario Building Code non-conformity.
Well, I guess my question is, the bill does not allow for any cost recovery. I mean, why should the town taxpayers be forced to pay for inspections and for the benefit of an owner who now has the ability to have 3 apartments or 3 units within a single family home? I think there should, you know, be some cost recovery allowed from the property owner to the town, enabling, you know, proper zoning is in place and building code is up to date and so forth. As far as you know, Adam, there's no provision in the bill for the town to add costs to the owner.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, the bill again, and some of the recent legislative changes from the province, they've come out quite rapidly, to be honest, in terms of encouraging housing and encouraging this type of development. And I do think there is some potential catch up that we may see in terms of legislation, and especially underneath the legislation, the regulations that come out as well, which are still rolling out on an ongoing basis. But as of now, no, there is no cost recovery mechanism.
Okay, thank you for that.
Any other questions? Christopher?
No questions for me. Thank you. Appreciate the presentation.
Thank you. Any follow-up, Julian?
No further questions. Thank you.
Okay. I have no questions. Thank you for that matter. Anything else which you have for us or members? Any other business? Okay, so none. So ask for a mover for adjournment of the meeting. Christopher. So the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, and have a good night.
Seconder, Mr. Chair. You need a seconder.